Hello, I'm Larry the Pen Book Guy, and welcome back to Larry's Fountain Pen. Peace. Today I want to talk to you about a Jinhao fountain pen. A Jinhao fountain pen that I haven't seen on YouTube or have not heard of it yet. Now it may be out there somewhere, but for me, I have yet to see it. It's the Jinhao 990. It's a plastic demonstrator pen. I found it to be kind of unique in its own way. It's just a plastic body fountain pen. And they come in a plastic sleeve, just like you see here. And if you're a newbie or a pen enthusiast, you like to have this in your collection because they're different. How are they different? Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. But on the packaging, I've noticed, like this one says, made in China. And on the rest of them, they don't have that on there. No biggie, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. So, what I am going to do, I guess I'll use the red one for now. All of them are the same. Now, I haven't had time to do any testing about an eyedropper, but I'm sure that's what everybody, well, not everybody, but just a lot of folks like to know if they're eyedropper compatible. Well, let me check for you right now, because first on these pens, especially from China, you want to make sure there's no cracks in there that could be a possible leak. So I'll check right now before I get to any further with this review. And it doesn't look like it, but that's not saying there isn't. Alright, for now I'm saying there's no cracks, at least not in this pen. So a little bit about the pen. How it's listed on eBay is the Jinhao 990 transparent red fine nib fountain pen. School, office, ink pens. New. That's how they list this pen. The seller on eBay is U-Pens, Y-O-U-P-E-N 520. Now that's the only one that I've seen that has this for sale. Now, maybe by now there may be more, but when I purchased the pen. So, and it does have a pull-off cap, fine nib, and you twist off the barrel, and it does come with a converter, and it does have like an O-ring right there that will seal to the converter, to the barrel. Your basic ink converter, but it runs pretty smooth. It's got the little agitator in there, if you can see that. So this just comes out, and you don't want to lose that little ring you see right there. And there it is. And it fits, you just push it in, and it'll fit nice and snug and tight in there. So, and what I like about that, it's secure. All plastic. Plastic feed. The grip, see-through, clear. And what I like about these kind of pens, you can actually see your ink when it runs down into the feed. That's pretty cool. Not much to it. the pen is a snap-on cap. And let's start here with the cap. There's nothing going on in the cap, but you can see the nib. Turn that around a little bit. Right there. You can see everything, all the working parts of the pen inside. And for people who like to see their inks in these kind of pens, well, you'll be able to see it just fine. As you go up to the cap, to the top of the finial, you see a very pale red color on top. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And the clip, springy, I like that. And I like the shape of the clip. It's a little bit different than the usual standard Jinhao clips that I've seen. It comes in a narrow point. It almost kind of reminds me of a sword, kind of. And as we go down the barrel, you taper it on to the very end, then you'll see a more pronounced red at the end of the barrel, round. So we'll see, and that is, so you can post the pen. Now, how secure is that? It seems pretty secure, but it's not real tight. It's still on there kind of loose, so I would be careful. So, without capping your pen, I have small hands, and I don't know if that would work for me with long writing sessions. So I would have to post it. It's not top heavy at all, to get a better feel of the pen to write with. The dimensions of the pen, when the pen is capped, it's 5.29 inches. When it's posted, it's 6.50 inches. The diameter of the pen is 0.45 inches, and the weight of the pen, it's a light pen, 12.2 Gs. So those are the dimensions of the pen. So what do you say we fill her up and give her a test run, because I've been dying to see how this pen writes. So what I'm going to do is I just got a bottle of this beautiful Pilot Yamabudo, and I am going to ink up this pen with that. And I'll show you how the pen will fill up, if there's any problems or not, so bear with me. Shake my ink up a little bit there. Love this ink. And here we go. All right. Take it nice and easy. And you see how that fell out? That's where you got to be careful about these converters. They're not my favorite converter, so I will change it out later. So let's try it again. And it's got a decent feel. But I want to show you actually from start to finish, not just when I talk about the parts of the pen, but when I actually fill a pen, like I just did, to show you that sometimes that can happen. A converter can come unscrewed. That doesn't mean it's a bad converter. Not the best converter, no. But something to keep an eye out for. So let me clean all this off. There we go. Now, she is ready to write. this pen cost a whole $1.25. So, that's a good thing. And free shipping. So here we go, a little bit of writing for you. Remember, this is the fine nib. So don't expect for it to be wet, wet. Well, transparent, dummy. There we go. Okay, so let's do some upside down writing. The seller is U pen 520. And the cost of this pen is $1.25. It's plastic. And it does write upside down. I'm going to do this all in upside down. And no problem. I would try it regular way to write. All right. So, yeah, you can get some different line variations with the upside down. Okay, here is the downstroke at the regular writing position. Now we're going to do it with upside down, downstroke, and you see there's a lot thinner line on that downstroke. And then, so yeah, that's pretty cool, and it wrote just fine. It wasn't scratchy. It's not a dry nib, but it's not a wet nib. It's a fine nib. So you're not going to get a whole lot of ink out of it. Now what I like to do is prime that feed a little more to see if I can get a little bit more ink out of it. Oh, I can make it wetter if I wish to, but you know, that's okay. I think it'll flow just like you see it. And we'll check for wetness again. This is a true fine nib. Sometimes I get the Chinese pens that say fine and it's fine medium, or extra fine that writes more as a fine. I don't know if you've ever had that experience, but I have quite a few times. But it does write nice. It's a decent writer. You know, the Chinese pens are becoming more pronounced on eBay. They're coming out with more pens. Yeah, they do a lot of copying. I'll give them that. But they do put out a pretty darn good fountain pen, in my opinion, at a real affordable price. On top of that, most of them have free shipping. You may have to wait a little bit, 3-4 weeks, but the savings are pretty incredible. If you're a person that really have to watch your money and don't have abundance of money, then you might want to check into that to see if it fits you. But Jinhao are the pens that I first started out with when I got into the fountain pen world. And I've always liked them. And what's weird about my taste is I don't like fine nibs and I don't like extra fine nibs. First of all, you're probably asking, well, why do you have a fine nib? Well, because I do pen reviews and my viewers have asked about fine nibs or extra fine nibs. That doesn't mean I'm going to jump to every extra fine or fine nib I see. I am going to be kind of picky what I see. I'm looking for something different. If I can find those pens, something that nobody's reviewed before. But if not, I'll go ahead and get that pen. Now, as far as my taste, for some strange and odd, mysterious reason, I tend to like some of the fine nibs and some of the extra fine nibs. I don't like them when they're scratchy, toothy. I don't like that at all. I won't use it. But the Chinese pens that I've dealt with so far have been pretty darn decent. With a lot of Chinese pens, they are affordable. And you're going to find some pens that are like $13, $14, $20 and up. The question you need to ask yourself is, do I want to spend that kind of money on that pen? You know, let's say there's a Jinhao pen for $25. Really nice looking pen. And you've seen a lot of great reviews on it. But then you ask yourself, well, that pen looks like a TWSBI. And the TWSBI Echo is what, $28? So, would I be better off to buy the TWSBI or to buy this Chinese pen? Well, that would be entirely up to you. Those are choices that you have to make. That's why it's important to watch reviews on pens. And I try to give my reviews all the info that I can possibly give to the viewers. I hope this has been helpful to you. And now we're going to see about if it's eyedropper ready. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. And here's what I'm going to do to show you firsthand if this fountain pen is eyedropper friendly. Before I get into it, in the cap that I didn't bring to your attention earlier, it has an inner cap inside. It looks like the kind of cap that would help keep your pen from drying out. That's what it reminds me of. So here we go. So I brought everything here to the table and used my dropper, and I'm going to fill up with water the barrel. Can you get it real close there, Mr. Announcer, so they can actually see? I filled it up way to the top. Now you don't have to when you eyedrop it. I usually fill it to about up to here. But, you know, that's a nice amount of ink. And there's nothing leaking, but you always want to be triple sure and check your pens, these Chinese pens, to make sure that there's no cracks in them. Because you never know if there's a slight crack that may cause a leak and you'll have ink everywhere. So that looks good. Alright, set this aside. Now let's check out the cap. Just because. And the cap is also a good to go. So I will just put that back in. So now I know if I want to make this into an eyedropper, I can do that. So, I hope this review on the Jinhao 990 transparent fountain pen with a fine nib has been helpful to you, and I hope the way I presented to you about this fountain pen, the information that I gave you to help you know more about this fountain pen, was helpful, because it's hard to know if you're going to like a pen just by seeing it. It's always better, if you possibly can, to go to a pen show or to a pen store and actually hold a pen in your hand, get the feel of it, actually see it, and actually be able to write with it if you have that luxury to. Well, that's enough for this review, and I appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for joining me at Larry's Fountain Pens. Be safe and don't text and drive. God bless. Peace, folks.